everyone, I hope you're doing well. My name is Clara Ayres, and I have been told that the TEDx theme is creative is intelligence having fun, right? Then I called my presentation today Interdisciplinarity, think like Leonardo da Vinci. And I'd like to start it with a reflection. So, in my opinion, being a child is unquestionably a unique experience. I mean, the whole thing is certainly fantastic. You basically just eat, sleep, do finger painting at school, and watch Peppa Pig. But there is one specific detail, one particular detail, that is unsurpassed. I have a 4-year-old sister, and the other day I asked her, Amanda, what do you want to do when you grow up? She answered that she wanted to be a scientist. Then she said she wanted to be a teacher. Seems like two things that go well together, right? Then she turned to my other sister, who is 14, and asked her what she wanted to do. She answered that she would like to study film, and explained, you know those movies we watch on TV? I'm going to make them. And then, that fantastic reaction, whoa, Lulu, I want to do the same thing. And a few minutes later, she added that she wanted to be a princess. And a doctor. So you may ask me, but Clara, why do you think that's so cool? Because nobody judges her for liking so many things. She can combine whatever she wants, change her mind whenever she wants, and people will just laugh and support her. That's how it is with everybody. It was like that with me. Until high school. When I entered high school in 2020, as expected, my school started to pressure us students to start thinking about what we would like to do for a living in the future. And what do you think an overthinker teenager stuck at home 24 hours a day because of a pandemic will do in such a scenario? Yes, you're right. I couldn't think of anything else. I still had 3 years to decide on anything, but for some reason that seemed like an inordinately small amount of time. In that process, I would see most of my friends taking their favorite subject at school as a basis. Therefore, someone with an aptitude for mathematics, for example, had a greater tendency to choose something like engineering or computer science. Or maybe someone who's good at humanities, social studies, would go for something like international relations or political science. The problem for me, however, was that I had never had a favorite subject at school. Not even a favorite area of knowledge. I had an ease in all of them, and I couldn't imagine myself not studying something related to one of them in college. I mean, I couldn't see myself studying something that didn't involve mathematics in the same way that I couldn't see myself without humanities, for example. Apparently, I had multiple interests. There was a time in which I wanted to go to medical school and eventually become a neurologist and a psychiatrist. Also, I could never forget the time in which I wanted to study archaeology and religious studies. That was after finishing an online course on how different societies have been predicting the future throughout history. And well, of course, for some time, I thought about studying design or illustration. I could work with book covers, I have always loved reading, and that would make perfect sense. I am what I like to call an interdisciplinary person. But at that time, I still didn't see that as something pleasant. Actually, it was anxiously terrifying never being able to get to a conclusion. And being quite honest, having my father telling me that I couldn't just do everything, that I needed to specialize in something in order to succeed in life, didn't help at all. I remember one time he said me something like, Clara, a good doctor will specialize in a little bone in your food. He'll be so good at it that someone who has a problem with that little bone will rely just on him. Look, nothing against it, but it sounded pretty depressing to me. I mean, it seemed pretty dull to me to study a single bone for a lifetime. I don't know. It's just not my thing. And after so much frustration, I decided to create some boundaries. So what could I not live without, and what kind of impact I wanted to generate with my work? Well, I couldn't imagine myself without art. I have always been passionate about art when I was younger. My mother would leave me in the backyard with papers and paints for hours while she took care of the house. Sorry. And but I also wanted to be able to work with science and society. And in addition to that, my greatest desire was to promote a more sustainable world where humans and nature live in harmony. It was then that by an Instagram recommendation, I watched a series called Abstract, The Art of Design. The episode that most caught my attention? Neri Oxman, Bioarchitecture. So Neri Oxman is an architect, designer, scientist, engineer, inventor, and professor at the MIT Media Lab. Some people like to call her the new Leonardo da Vinci. So she's Israeli, so she had served in the army for a while. Then she started medical school but switched to architecture after her grandmother passed away because she said it lost its sentiment. Now she works on developing new eco-friendly materials made with and for nature, inspired by its complexity, like nature's complexity. She presents these new materials to the public as works of art. In my slides, you can see what is called the Neri Oxman scrap circle of creativity. About this image, Neri said that her goal is to establish a tentative, yet holistic, cartographic of the interrelation between these domains, where one realm can see revolution, or evolution, inside another, and where a single individual or project can reside in multiple dominions. In this scheme, the whole of science is to explain and predict the world around us. It converts information into knowledge. The whole of engineering is to apply scientific knowledge to the development of solutions for empirical problems. It converts knowledge to utility. The whole of design is to produce embodiments of solutions that maximize function and augment human experience. It converts utility into behavior. And the whole of art is to question human behavior and create awareness of the world around us. It converts behavior into new perceptions of information. Thus, in coming into contact with this work, I discovered that there were people who thought like me, interdisciplinary people who were embracing their multiple interests and making remarkable things out of it. Because the ability to integrate knowledge from different disciplines, to see connections between them, is beautiful. It is an absurd stimulus to creativity. You see, a lot of the great inventions and great theories of knowledge and everything else were created by people who had worked in different fields. Leonardo da Vinci once said, study the science of art. Study the art of science. Develop your senses. Especially learn how to see. Realize that everything connects to everything else. In the old days, the disciplines weren't even divided. There were no separations, and the geniuses were those who presented abilities in several different areas. But from some time ago, with the Industrial Revolution, with our beloved capitalism, this has changed. And that's why some people think like my father, and other doctors specialized in foot bones. And now, people like me, and maybe like some of you, are struggling to decide what they want to do for the rest of their lives. The rest of your life, it's a long time, right? Doing just one thing seems pretty boring. Some of you might understand what I'm talking about. But recently, I was on the internet looking for an article that my mother had sent me back in 2020, when I was in the middle of that acceptance process of having multiple interests and all that. It turned out that I didn't find that specific article, but I found another one, and I wanted to share it with you. In this one, people like me were called generalists, and that seemed to suit me quite well. The title was, people with too many interests are more likely to be successful according to research. The article started by saying that the warning against being a generalist has persisted for hundreds of years in dozens of languages. For years, popular expressions warning about such a problem were varied. Equipped with knives all over, yet known as sharp in China, or 9 traits, the 10th one, hunger in Estonia. However, if we stop to think for a moment, many of the most impactful individuals, both contemporary and historical, have been generalists. Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, Richard Feynman, Ben Franklin, Thomas Edison, Leonardo da Vinci, and Marie Curie, just to name a few. The big issue here, the article poses, is that if being a generalist is the path to mediocrity, why did the most comprehensive study of the most significant scientists in all history uncover that 15 of the 20 were polymaths? That word is another word for someone with multiple interests, according to Google, means a person of wide-ranging knowledge or learning. So like, if being a generalist was so ineffective, why are the founders of the 5 largest companies in the world, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Warren Buffett, Larry Page, and Jeff Bezos, all polymaths? Are these legends just genius anomalies, or are they people we could and should imitate in order to be successful in the modern knowledge economy? If being a generalist is an ineffective career path, why do more than 10 academic studies find a correlation between the number of interests, competences someone develops, and their creative impact? I mean, like, look at Elon Musk. The article gives his example. He has combined an understanding of physics, engineering, programming, design, manufacturing, and business to create 7 multi-billion-dollar companies in several different fields. So like, people like people like him, may seem crazy, and some may get the impression that they have no focus, but it's like the complete opposite. Like, check this out. They are adaptable individuals. They gather a series of abilities, and with that, they elevate their creativity to another level and are capable of finding solutions for problems in several areas. An absurd range of possibilities open up for them. And look, I'll tell you, if you're one of those people who already know what you want to do for a living, you already know what you want to do with your life, you didn't have any difficulty in finding out what you wanted to do, I really advise you to think about other things that you like and could combine with that. Because, as you can see, the future belongs to the integrators. Thank you very much. Bye.